Sir, could you please show me where the Mimi is docked?
Yeah, right on down the dock down there, son. Okay?
Thank you. Grandpa? 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 Grandpa?
We're going to the Mimi.
We ain't gonna find him.
Who?
Granny.
You mean Captain Granville?
Yep. Went to town. Said to tell you when you got here. You are the scientist, right?
Yes.
Charter the Mimi, right?
Yes.
Gonna look for whales, right?
Right.
You'll find plenty of whales,
That's good.
but you ain't gonna find him. At least not till later. Said he'd be back in about a half an hour.
Uh-huh.
Said not to load up till he got there.
Okay, well, tell Granny we said thanks.
Don't guess I will.
Why not?
He's not Granny, at least not to his face, and you best not call him that.
Oh, thanks. We'll remember that.
See you around. Man, am I glad to be out of that lab. I really miss this.
We missed this. Man, I missed tu es. Okay, well, I'll park the truck.
Okay.
I get up at 5 a.m. to drive you 300 miles. And all your father has to do is to have his secretary call the bank, and he manages to bungle even that.
For God's sakes, Mother, you've complained enough about Daddy. Can't you just cool it long enough for me to get out of here?
Don't you tell me to cool it, young lady. I won't have a child of mine using that tone of voice with me.
Goodbye, Mother.
Don't forget to write from Rockland.
Hey, Rachel.
Mr. Rojas.
Hey, Rachel, what are you doing over here? You got the wrong boat.
I know. This is the Mary Conrad. We sailed against her a couple of summers ago. Dad and I, we beat her, too.
Wait till you meet the Mimi. Rachel Fairbanks, this is Ann Abrams, our chief oceanographer.
Our only oceanographer.
Well, she's the boss. And this is Sally Ruth Cochran, our senior research assistant.
Nice to meet you.
And this is the Mimi.
This thing? Well, it floats. Can it move?
Well, she's not exactly an ocean racer, but what character?
It was built for work, not speed.
Right.
Is she?
Yes, I am, but I can relip. How's the trip, Rachel?
Pretty good. I hitchhiked.
You're kidding.
No, from Connecticut. Took me all night.
You must be beat.
No, I'm okay. So are we the whole crew, Mr. Rojas?
You can drop the mister. We're not in school now, Rachel.
Besides, his doctor will have now marine biology, PhD.
Yeah? Congratulations.
Thanks.
Hi, Captain Granville.
You people seen a young boy around here?
No.
No.
He must have taken the wrong bus out of Boston. My grandson.
Well, what does he look like?
I don't know. Haven't seen him for 8 years. Get your gear on board. I hope he'll show up on the next bus. You C.T. Granville?
Yes, sir.
You always put people out of sorts?
No, sir.
Well, you put me out of sorts. I was all over that bus station.
The driver let me out here. Told him about your boat.
Liked your card. It's a nice-looking calf.
Yeah, she's full grown now.
How are things at home?
Ma's okay, but she still has to stay in bed for 2 months till she has the baby.
Yeah, I know. That's why you're here. At least you'll be out of her hair. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Hi, you found your grandson.
C.T. Granville.
Hi.
You'll be sailing with us. The lady a hand, son.
Captain Granville, is there going to be room?
We can squeeze him into the forecastle.
That's what I was figuring.
Well, okay. Let's get to work.
Callie? Miss Abrams here.
Looks good.
My cabin here.
Hey, first class.
Shower.
My dog room. I like it.
And the rest of you in here. Women on the starboard side, men on the port. Let's get the gear stowed. Write what's in each can on the top.
But they got labels.
They get wet, they won't have labels. You won't know your canned peas from your fruit cocktail.
The dog room is all there.
Already?
Yeah.
How come she uses sign language when she can talk?
So we can all learn how to sign.
Well, who's this Arthur guy, anyway?
Arthur Spencer. Ann picked him. He goes to high school in the Bronx and is into computers. Let's go there. Pass me some books.
Well, I thought I was the only student coming.
The only one from my class.
So when's this Arthur guy supposed to get here, anyway?
About an hour ago.
Oh, miss, would you hand me that hammer on the deck there? Miss? You're gonna have to hop to a lot better than that if you're gonna stay on this boat.
It doesn't help you, Chuck. I'm deaf.
You're what?
Deaf.
Miss Abrams, you told me you'd hired an experienced crew, and then you go and bring a deaf mute.
She's not mute.
Captain Granville, Sally Ruth practically grew up on a boat. What does her being deaf have to do with it?
I'll show you what. Sally Ruth, watch out for that boom. That's what.
There are other ways to get her attention. She feels the vibrations.
Bye.
Now, you sure you don't want us to take you to the ship?
It's only a boat, Mom. Besides, I'm already late.
Good luck, son.
Hey, honey, you forgot your radio! You really gonna look for whales?
That's what we're all about. Humpback whales.
You gonna hunt them?
No way.
They're already being hunted, almost to extinction. We're going to study them.
I've never seen a whale. Never even seen the ocean till today.
Wait till you set eyes on your first whale.
I'll be right back.
Hey!
Turn that down. How you been?
Fine, fine. Hey, sorry I'm late, Doctor. We got a flat tire on the turnpike. Is this our boat?
Yep.
Big.
Arthur, I don't know if this boat's gonna be the best place for you to play your box. Our captain's kind of touchy.
Oh, that's cool. I've got headphones. I'm wired for silence.
And Ramon Rojas.
Hi, Arthur. You can store your gear in the forecastle.
Huh?
You crash in there. The forecastle's the forward cabin. All the way up front. The kid's name is CT.
Yo, Arthur Spencer.
Hi, I'm CT Granville.
Guess we're roommates, huh?
That's Ramon's bunk. We sleep here.
We? Okay. Some boat. Who's the driver?
You're the late one.
Yep.
What's that?
Briefcase.
Stow it. Okay, all hands on deck. Stand by to cast off.
That's my grandfather.
That dude is a grandfather?
Let's get those.
He's also the driver.
Stand by on the bow line. Cast it off. Get it aboard.
Hi, I'm Ben Affleck. I play the part of C.T. Granville in the Voyage of the Mimi. The story of the Voyage of the Mimi is made up, but everything in it really could happen. Scientists do go out in the ocean to study whales. In fact, scientists study just about everything, and they go just about everywhere to do it. This is a humpback whale. Well, it's not really a humpback whale, it's a full-scale model of a humpback whale. The kind the crew of the Mimi will be looking for and studying. Before filming the series, I'd never seen a whale. Well, I guess most people haven't. In fact, a lot of people are even like CT. They haven't even seen the ocean before. Aquarium in Boston, Massachusetts. It's a great place to learn about the oceans. I came here with Dr. Sylvia Earle. She's a marine biologist and a deep sea diver. Spending the day with Sylvia changed the way I think about the ocean. She told me things about it that I'd never heard. Like, did you know that every year we take 70 million tons of fish out of the sea? That's about 35 pounds of fish for every human on Earth. Before the aquarium opened, Sylvia and I walked along the docks and watched the fishing boats unload. It really is a lot of fish. Won't they, like, maybe go extinct or something? Because they're taking so much every day.
It does seem incredible. They can keep fishing and still catch more fish.
Yeah, but there is a lot of ocean, isn't there?
Well, when you look at just the surfaces, actually there's quite a lot more water than there is land.
Really?
Some 70% of the planet. If you look at the globe, you turn it around, you see that actually most of it's blue. And the view that astronauts have given us looking back from space shows that this is largely a blue and white planet, that the land masses are relatively small, like islands. Even the continents look small when you get way back and get that overall perspective. And then you have to think about the depth as well. And the average depth is more than 2 miles.
2 miles average?
That's right. And if you go to the deepest part, it's 7 miles down.
The ocean is not only big, it's been around a long time too. 4 billion years. All the water on Earth is that old. In fact, some of the water you drink today has probably been drunk before by hundreds of other animals, even other people. Water never really disappears. It evaporates up into the clouds and rains back down, then evaporates again and rains back down over and over. That's called the water cycle. Most rainwater comes from the ocean, so even if you live in Kansas, the ocean affects you. The sea is filled with life, too. Hundreds of thousands of different species. In fact, life on Earth began in the sea. But even though it's so important, we're just beginning to understand the ocean and appreciate it, thanks to places like the New England Aquarium.
You think about the history of civilization that goes back thousands of years, and it's only in this very short period of time that we've really begun to concentrate on most of the planet, the wet part of the planet. It was literally about a century ago that the very first oceanographic expedition ever took place. Even now, we're using some of the same techniques that the scientists on that very first expedition used, nets and dredges and bottles that we lowered blindly from the deck of a ship. And in so doing, you just try to imagine what we'd know of Boston or New York or any part of the terrestrial side of the planet by using oceanographic techniques. Suppose you were flying overhead using a net or a dredge, and you couldn't see what was going on below. You were just dragging this blindly. And suppose it were in the streets of Boston outside the New England Aquarium, for example, you might possibly catch a pedestrian with a bag over his shoulder, and you might get a dog or a piece of shrubbery or a piece of cement. But in any case, you would not get the whole picture of what's really going on down here. We have to use these indirect methods of trying to get fragments and then piece together like a great detective story.
One reason the ocean is so hard to study is because humans aren't very well adapted to being in water. And probably the best way to study the ocean is to get in it. And that's what Sylvia does. As a diver, she can go down to observe and collect the marine life she studies. With scuba gear, she can dive to depths of 200 feet. That may not sound like much, but until scuba gear was invented just 40 years ago, people had a hard time staying underwater at all, unless they held their breath. The first inventions people made to take air down with them were pretty funny looking. This one held a bubble of air in a glass jar, and the diver could return to it anytime he needed a breath. This is one of the first diving suits where you could actually wear your air supply. But air isn't the only problem. There's pressure and cold to worry about too. Sylvia knows all about that. She helps design diving suits. In fact, she holds the world's record for diving the deepest without being attached to the surface or in a submarine. You're sort of like an astronaut because you dive the deepest. I mean, as any diver. I mean, didn't you sort of feel like Armstrong and stepped on the moon?
Well, I had the wonderful opportunity of short time ago to be able to use a new diving system called the GYM. It's what they say is a personal submersible, the submarine that you can wear, some people say. It looks a bit like an astronaut suit. And in some ways it is comparable in that you have to carry your life support with you, whether you're on the moon, where if you cannot breathe, or on the deep sea floor, where also a human being cannot breathe. It weighs 1,000 pounds on land.
Wow.
But when you have it in the water, it only weighs about 60 pounds. And it's possible to go places that divers normally cannot go. The problem usually is the pressure that one faces at 1,000 feet or more.
On Sylvia's record dive, down 1,250 feet, the pressure would be more than 1/4 of a ton on every square inch of her body. It must have been totally dark, right? So you had a flashlight and everything.
Well, walking around on the sea floor at 1,250 feet was dark, but there were lights available, both inside the GYM suit, this walking suit that I had, as well as with a small submersible that was my taxi cab to get me down to the sea floor. I actually rode down strapped to the nose of the little submarine, and when I got to the bottom, the strap was released and I simply walked off.
Sylvia's dive is still a record, but with the new technology she's helping to develop, she expects new records will be made soon. Even her record dive doesn't seem so deep compared to the average ocean depth of 2 miles.
We fly overhead 7 miles in airplanes every day, eating lunch.
Yeah.
But to go in the ocean is still considered to be a remote, difficult kind of thing to undertake.
To dive much deeper than Sylvia did, people have to go in special submarines. These can take scientists miles down. In fact, one of them once went to the deepest ocean depth known.
A few years ago, 2 people went all the way to the bottom. They went down 7 miles in a submarine, and they stayed for 20 minutes, but that's the only time in the whole history of civilization that anybody's done that.
What kind of animals live 7 miles down in the water?
It wasn't so many years ago that people thought nothing could possibly live in the deep sea. It's probably just a barren sort of wasteland. And there's 2 men who are down in the submarine at 7 miles. They're looking out their tiny little porthole, and they saw eyes looking back at them. There was a flounder-like fish that was surprised, I suppose, when this monster submersible landed in its backyard. In the last 25 years, some say we've learned more about the oceans because of technology and the ability to get down into the sea than mankind has learned through all of the rest of history. And it's a tremendous time to be alive.
Some fellow mammals get along just fine in the sea, without any technology at all. They're one of the most popular attractions at the aquarium.
Very nice. Hey.
Whales and dolphins are air-breathing mammals who've adapted so well to the water through evolution that they look like fish.
Absolutely beautiful, you two. Those were terrific.
I guess everybody likes dolphins. After the show, Sylvia introduced me to the dolphin trainer, Sue Sinclair.
Be careful.
Jump right in.
Come on over here and I'll introduce you to Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. Up close, you can really see how well these bottlenose dolphins are adapted to a life underwater. They barely have to come out of the water, even to breathe, since they breathe out of a blowhole on the back of their head. Their smooth skin helps them slide through the water better.
What do you think it feels like?
I don't know, it's like rubber.
It does feel like rubber. It feels sort of like a hard-boiled egg, except not quite as slimy as a hard-boiled egg might be.
Can they see underwater? I mean, I know when we open our eyes, we can't see it all well underwater, but like...
Dolphins have, or bottlenose dolphins have excellent eyesight, either whether they're above the water level or below the water level. Their eyes are actually specially adapted so that they can adjust for some of the refraction of the light through the water, which is what makes it blurry for us. Their eyes can specially adapt for that. They do have ears, believe it or not. They're small, tiny, tiny pinprick openings right behind their eyes. There's one right there. See, if you want up here so Ben can see this one right there. See that little dent?
Yeah.
They actually have excellent hearing.
Their good hearing takes advantage of the fact that sound travels better in water than in air. They can even locate objects in the darkest depths by bouncing sound off them like bats do. Dolphins are totally at home in the water, even though they're air-breathing mammals. They've adapted to life in the sea. You might say we've adapted to the sea too, by inventing the technology to let us go there. My day at the aquarium helped me to understand why Sylvia is so enthusiastic about being underwater.
I can't remember not being interested in plants and animals and the ocean generally. When I was a small child, my backyard was the Gulf of Mexico, and it was as natural as walking around in your backyard to go out and swim around in that ocean. To me, it was the most fascinating thing you could imagine doing. One of the most exciting things right now is that anybody can be an explorer and discover new things just a few feet under any ocean. And the vast majority of the sea remains to be explored even in the smallest way. I can't imagine anybody not somehow giving into the temptation and slipping on a face mask at least and flippers and taking a glimpse of what's going on that other part of the planet.
Dr. Earl gave me a lot to think about. I mean, maybe we should call our planet Ocean instead of Earth. After each episode in The Voyage of the Mimi, Mark Graham, who plays the role of Arthur, or Mary Tanner, who plays Rachel, or I, will go out on an expedition. Each of us will be visiting some exciting places, from the bottom of a bay off Cape Cod to the top of the highest mountain in the Northeast.
Not too bad. Come on, over here where it's windy.
From a school for boat builders to a college for the deaf. From an experimental farm to an Arctic test chamber. I hope you'll come with us.